And we've been friends ever since.
In 1945, Betty persuaded a reluctant Rosemary to join her at an audition that would change their lives.
When Betty was 13 and Rosemary was 16, these two little girls got in their school uniforms, and went downtown to WLW, the Nation station in Cincinnati, Ohio, and auditioned as singers.
Their uncle George Guilfoyle, who one day would leave a lasting impression on George Clooney, became their business manager.
Uncle George was mustered out of the Air Force. He had many flights over Berlin. He was a bomber pilot.
And he became Rosemary and Betty's official and legal guardian, and took them on the road with Tony Pastor's band.
In 1947, the Clooney sisters made their debut at the Steel Pier in Atlantic City with the Tony Pastor Band, one of the hottest groups of the big band era. Only 2 years after their first audition at WLW, Rosemary and Betty had hit the big time. Despite their popularity as a singing duo, Rosemary's distinctive voice began to get recognition among the jazz elite. After 2 years on the road, Betty decided to leave her sister and return to Cincinnati.
She never got to go to the high school dance. She never got to have a real date. She never got to have any of the things that people have when they have a life of their own. She also knew that there would be some who would say if she hung around, she might be a problem for Rosemary.
Betty left, and she did it for me, you see, because I had a contract with Columbia Records on my own. And that meant that I would be doing single records. And she knew that probably would mean that I'd have to go to New York and try and see what I could do. So I accepted that. I wanted to. I wanted an excuse to go to New York. But she gave it to me. She gave me the chance.
Not much came of Rosemary's Columbia Records contract until 1951, when Mitch Miller, the label's top producer, asked her to record a novelty song called Come On to My House.
Rosemary didn't like Come On to My House. She never wanted to do it. Mitch Miller said, you'll do this or you'll not record.
The song became a huge hit, and suddenly Rosemary Clooney was a major celebrity. 3 decades later, Pat Boone's daughter, Debbie Boone, Rosemary's daughter-in-law, experienced the same meteoric rise to fame with the success of a single song. In 1977, she sang You Light Up My Life.
It seems sort of silly that we should share such a common experience in having a song, sort of catapult us into stardom. I think the times were considerably different. When it happened for Rosemary, there were people who kind of made those decisions for you, studios that said what your next, choice is going to be and that kind of thing. I just recorded a record for a movie, and it was such a big hit that I suddenly was expected now to go out and do concerts, and I had no body of work. We had to throw together an album just to put out You Light Up My Life.
For Rosemary, the enormous success of Come On to My House turned her into a major star, but to her family she was still the same small-town girl they had grown up with.
When we would be discussing Rosemary, we would discuss her as a third person, including Rosemary. It would be the Rosemary Clooney. That was sort of put in a box over here, as opposed to Rosie, our sister. You see? And you could talk about Rosemary Clooney then, that phenomenon, in a way that did not in any way interrupt our long-term, all of our lives, intimacy.
When success hits that big and that fast, everything turns around, and you really do lose a sense of who you are, because suddenly everyone is bowing and scraping and wanting to, be a part of it, so they tell you you're fabulous. Everything you say is brilliant and funny, and they'll do anything for you. And you start to really think, wow, look at me.
Although Rosemary Clooney was now a superstar, she always remained true to herself, providing a much-needed blueprint for George Clooney and her son Miguel Ferrer on their own rocky roads to fame.